Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pre-DevFest series with Tabby. And today we are privileged to have none other than the Developer Relations Manager at Google, the very own Aniedi. Welcome, Aniedi.
Oh,
Hi.
hi. Thank you,
Hi.
Tabby. Thanks for having me on the Pre-DevFest show event.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's
Yeah.
really an honor to have you here.
No, it's normal. Normal. I'm just here. I'm your regular ecosystem servant. So I'm here to, provide the regular things that help the community grow. And I'm excited about DevFest that is coming up. It's going to be different this year, but pretty excited. Yeah.
Yeah. So in line with that, you mentioned about ecosystem. Could you please tell us a little more about yourself and the whole ecosystem thing? What is it about?
Oh, interesting. So I work as a program manager on the developer relations team at Google. Primarily, our team provides a lot of programs, a lot of opportunities, a lot of, I would say, infrastructure to help developers get started, to grow their careers, grow their profession, grow their skill set, ultimately just to succeed. So whether depending on what area of developer relations you are, whether it is organizing communities, trying to put tech talks and meetups together, matching speakers with communities, sending feedback to the product area teams at Google. The whole idea is that the kind of technologies, the kind of knowledge, the kind of information that people who work at Google have and are using to build successful software, we can make that same information available through a variety of formats to people who don't work at Google, people who live their normal lives, people who could be students, could be professionals, or they could be people in their earlier career trying to maybe change and find a new job.
Oh, okay, awesome. So, is the first part of your, the community events that you get to do?
Yeah, it's a bittersweet feeling this year to do DevFest virtually. Over the last 4 to 5 years, DevFest has been a very healthy and vibrant, I would say, activity that sort of celebrates what we do all year round. So we don't just do DevFest once a year. Throughout the year, people do meetups, people do events. This year has been characterized by a lot of webinars, a lot of online training, even a lot of activity on things like Slack and WhatsApp groups, where people are just sharing constantly information, new resources, celebrating product launches, throwing banter at one another. And then there's been this very interesting year-long activity that is facilitated and curated by communities. And then when we look forward to DevFest, we want to meet usually in person, and it's like the highlight of the year. So everyone's going to be there. There's this big date that is announced. People make an effort to be there, maybe save money, travel across cities or countries, just knowing fully well that everyone will be there. There are always awesome speakers, great talks. We wish we could have more time, but more importantly, it's not just the talks. Like, you could be an expert and you may even feel, what am I coming to learn here? Or I can pick it up on YouTube, or there's a tutorial on Udacity or Udemy that covers maybe this same topic. But being able to interact with a speaker live and really hearing people's experiences or reflections directly from the work they do, whether it's even in the community aspect of the work or the code that they actually write, and then being in a position where they can even tell you, oh, this is what went wrong, this is how I did it, this is why I chose this option, and being able almost like to ask them questions in real time, I think it's slightly different from a lot of all the other formats. And then the other thing is, sometimes you may be consuming a piece of content and somebody else is consuming that content. The person has a question that could have benefited you. If the person is just sitting there in front of his or her own laptop or interacting with the speaker one-on-one, you may have your questions, but you don't have the benefit of hearing the other person's questions and answers as something is being said. So I think the communal nature of DevFest is something that we always look forward to. And this year we are, I'd say, excited and challenged by the challenge of having to create that same community in a completely virtual or online setting.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it's really sad. I mean, if everyone thinks about it, we're all used to coming together from different parts of the country, having people from across the world or even Africa coming together. And then at this time, you're not going to have it. Everything is going to be virtual. People are like, how is it even going to work? So it's really sad. You mentioned something about traveling. So have you been to? Okay, I know you've been to many DevFest around the globe. That is pretty obvious, yeah. So I want to assume that you've been to Kenya, right, for DevFest in Kenya?
Actually, I have been to, I think, 2 DevFests in Kenya, 3, 4. I've missed a lot of them. So I think in the years when I first joined Google in about 2016, the first few DevFests I think I missed, 2016, 2017. But I think since 2018, 2019, I've been to a number of DevFests. I've been to DevFest Western Kenya. Absolutely. That was beautiful in Kisumu. And I've been to DevFest Nairobi. And I've been to the DevFest in the Rift Valley region. I don't know if it's Rift Valley or Eldoret. That's usually used to group everything together. But that was an amazing one. I think one regret I had for that DevFest was I came that day, and after the DevFest, I left that day. I wish I had the opportunity to enjoy more of that, the whole region, even like stop halfway in the middle of the road and just look at the Rift Valley and everything and the whole beautiful scenery. I think that was one, I would say, star point of that DevFest. And then on our way back, we stopped at some popular, I heard it's very well known, where they have, is it Yomachoma or something? And then everybody there was just, Yomachoma is not as great as Suya, but
let's not go there. Let's not go there.
But it was an amazing experience to partake in that whole journey. So you see, this is the joy and the beauty of DevFest, that cultural exchange and getting to experience things that sometimes reserved for, privileged and tourists.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned the different GDG communities and the different DevFest we have around in Kenya, because I don't know if you know about this, but the Kenyan community, the GDGs in Kenya have planned that this year they're going to come together to hold one DevFest, DevFest Kenya. And this is something we're really looking forward to. It's the first time this is happening, the same time you're having the first virtual DevFest. So, I mean, it's an opportunity for you to interact with all the GDG communities as they all come together. So, speaking of that, would you please tell us your experience? Like, you've been to different DevFests in Kenya. What did you really like about the DevFest? I mean, were you a speaker at some point, or at some points were you just an attendee, or how was it like for you?
So for me, I mean, I think I've spoken at DevFest in Kenya, and I think that stage is very intimidating, right? As you know, I'm Nigerian, and the accent is different, our sense of humor is different, the the energy is different. So always being in front of a Kenyan audience, I mean, Kenyan is oftentimes super technical, and I'm rusty in all those technical stuff. So when I stand in front of the audience in Kenya and I look at the lineup of other speakers, and I'm like, sometimes I'm giving the keynote, I'm like, okay, they're giving me the keynote out of like maybe just respect, not necessarily because I'm the smartest person in the room, not like I'm trying to be the smartest, but like there's always great GDEs, Googlers, other Kenyans, other people coming from outside that really make, these events really very awesome. And I've attended some sessions, I try as much as possible to get a little bit of everything. So if there are multiple parallel sessions going on, you might find me jumping from one place to the other. And then sometimes, which is just instinctively, you see me wearing the organizer hat, and I start looking at things that are not really my problem. Like I'm looking at the mic, I'm looking at the recording, and I'm asking myself, okay, just enjoy the DevFest, talk your talk and go your way. Do you understand? But the person in me who's not the best person doing like organization and preparation, but like doing execution and implementation, I always think of, we could, this could, that could, and I always look forward to those sort of moments. So yes, I enjoy speaking, but I think going forward and in a lot of the events that will be coming up this year and next year, I just want to be an attendee. I want to learn, and I pray that I don't have to wear the sort of organizer hat or project manager hat, and just really, really have a good time in the DevFest.
Okay. It's good to know that you want to only be an attendee this year. So are you promising to attend DevFest Kenya this year?
Yes. No talks. I'm not giving any talks. It's one weekend. I don't have any slides to present. You all know my story. I can make a cameo appearance and say, hello, welcome to DevFest, or thank you for attending DevFest. but I'll leave the talks to the professionals.
Yeah. So what are you really looking forward to? What are you looking forward to in this year's virtual DevFest Kenya?
Yeah, so I always look forward to breakout stories, success stories. I like hearing people who have achieved, phenomenal feats in the period of 1 year. So you hear people like, okay, last year I was an attendee, this year I'm a speaker. Last year I was just a student, I had no idea. This year I have a job, I'm leading a team. Last year I didn't know this technology, and for some reason I decided to learn this technology, or I implemented something with this product. Or you also hear people who are doing things in maybe fields that I'm not even very conversant about, because DevFest is this big thing. So you have people doing things on blockchain, people doing things on virtual reality or gaming on Unity. It's always good to just come and see that diversity of excellent content that you get to just pick, and then you start some of those. Now it's going to be virtual. A lot of things will be recorded. So even though things will be happening simultaneously, I look forward to starring some of those videos to watch later, and hopefully I won't stop at 30% or 40%. I will get to maybe 90 or 100.
Many people say they're going to watch something later, but they're not really always good to watch it. So are you sure you're going to watch it
my
later?
bookmarks on Twitter should be 1,000 bookmarks on Red, but I even did some bookmarks today.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. That's what you're really looking forward to. And I know things are different this year. And that people who are really, like I mentioned before, that people are really okay with the idea that they're feeling sad, they're feeling demotivated because it's going to be virtual, but they feel like it's just going to be like one of those usual webinars. So what would you tell these people about the virtual DevFest? Like, what is that you like to tell them to encourage them to attend DevFest, and why they should not miss DevFest this year?
Sure. So I think most important is the spirit of DevFest. I think this year is a year where we have used things like resilience and continuity as a theme. And so we don't want to be held down. We know things are not going to be ideal or perfect, but we're also sort of looking for opportunity in this midst of adversity. So it will take a little bit of effort. There is a window for DevFest. You don't have to stay online all day, all through all of them. So catch the portions you can catch, tune into the talks you can tune in. Depending on the platforms that are going to be used, try and engage, everything from technical questions to bands, to fun, to creative things. And I think a lot of speakers are going to, put in a little bit of extra effort, understanding that this is all virtual. And it should definitely not just be another webinar. The quality bar should be relatively higher. It should be more interesting. And I think people are going to commit to just being present. So I urge everyone, as much as possible within the confines of their work, their personal situation, the cost of data, just be part of DevFest, be part of the live events, be part of the social media in hype and just buzz, and get some good feedback from DevFest, and also get some plans that you can use going forward next year. Just learn something new. I always say these sort of events are like a buffet, so you don't have to go in and eat everything on the table like someone like me would want to do. So if you come there and there's only one thing you can pick or take away, one interaction, one new connection, one new friendship, that's fine. And that's really what DevFest is all about. Connecting and providing that platform for everyone to sort of be focused on one event or one thing for a while, and then having one take home or more for the rest of your year, career, growth, job, whatever.
Awesome. Interesting. We have all heard from Aniedi himself, telling us how there's no reason for you to miss DevFest at all. There's actually no reason.
No.
I will be there. Aniedi will be there, right? You will be there.
Yep.
So you should also be there. You don't want to miss out DevFest Kenya 2020.
Yeah. No. Just pop in and pop on if you have to.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Aniedi, for your time, for sharing with us your insights. We are really happy, and we are looking forward to seeing you as an attendee in DevFest Kenya 2020.
Just make sure I have a badge. Even if it's a virtual badge.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you also for tuning in for the Pre-DevFest series with Tabby. See you next time.
All right,
Yeah.
bye.
So yeah, that was Aniedi, and that was pretty interesting. So once again, DevFest Kenya will be running on 17th to 18th of October. If you need to find any more information, you can follow our Twitter account on Twitter at DevFest Kenya. You'll get to know all the updates, everything you need to know. If you need to apply as a speaker, just go there. There's a call for speakers. If you need to, well, as an attendee, you need to register in any platform or your community. Or if you also want to help out in any way, feel free to reach out to the DevFest Kenya in our social pages. Thank you so much and see you next time. This is Pre-DevFest here with Tabby.